Hi guys, it's Alexandra. I just wanted to start off this video by introducing Angel, who is an English professor at Florida State, and he is going to be talking about his experience training to begin hybrid teaching in the fall, which is what Florida State in particular and a lot of other colleges in the country are going to be going through, where the teacher will be in the classroom talking to students that are spread apart and social distanced, but also to students that are virtual as well. So it will be really helpful, hopefully, to any students who are about to go to hybrid classes and also any teachers who are about to teach in that format. So I hope you guys are able to learn something from this. All right, thanks. So for this new format of some students are online, some students are in person, but they're all receiving the same, lesson. What advice would you give to the student side and the teacher side as far as how to get over that distracting element of we're wearing face masks, it's not normal, it's just different, and it's something that's mentally distracting to both sides, I think.
It's mentally distracting, it's physically distracting. I'll start with me. Honestly, this week was a challenge in many aspects of starting and launching this hybrid model. But for me personally, the number one challenge was the face mask. I talk about I had to trim my beard as short as possible. I realized, I'm thinking in my head, wow, essential workers in hospitals, they wear these things 8 hours a day. And then I stopped and I said, but you know what? They're not talking 8 hours a day like professors and teachers are. And because I would be in the middle of, teaching a class and suddenly I'm feeling like I'm out of breath, and I had to take a break. I think there are aspects of it that are going to take a little bit of time at the beginning before they become second nature and before they kind of become the norm. We have incorporated mask breaks, is what we call them, where, if a student or a teacher needs 5 minutes to kind of step out, either outside or somewhere where they are isolated and they just want to take the mask off, to be able to do that. I definitely strongly recommend the teachers to try to do some kind of run through before the official launch of the session or the semester, because we don't know, technologically speaking, what we're going to encounter until you do it. For me personally, I feel like the teachers are going to have to be more mindful of the volume and the direction of their faces. Something as simple as that. When you're muffled by a mask, it's very, very difficult to be heard clearly in the classroom and online. And so making sure that if they're using either a webcam or the computer for Zoom, it should be at the very front of the class where it faces mainly the board. So even if they don't see the rest of the class, they're getting the main information and they can see the teacher. The teacher has to make sure that it's always, open body posture forward, even if you're pointing at the board, that you are still facing them and pointing with your hands, that you never turn around or speak away from them because they lose you immediately. We had definitely some issues with the volume and the understanding of the voice because of the mask. So that's definitely one. I think for the students, it's probably going to be, the mask itself might be a little bit less of a challenge, because even though they're wearing it, they are not speaking as much as the teachers are. And I don't know where you are, but for us here, for example, our K through 12 system is allowing students to remove masks if the social distancing requirement is met within the classroom. So in any classroom where there's that 6 feet or more between students, then the students are allowed to work and be in the classroom without their mask. So depending on the universities or the schools that choose to implement that rule, that might be helpful. In our case, we are not implementing that rule. We kind of polled the students, and they weren't very comfortable with the removing of the mask, even if they had the 6 feet apart. So we opted to just have the mask on at all times, unless you're by yourself outside or taking a break. So I think it's going to be a little bit more challenging towards the beginning, maybe the first couple of weeks or so, as the teachers and the students get a little bit more used to it.
Mm-hmm. How do you think this might affect sort of like the learning ability, like the conducive environment of learning? How do you think that could affect a student's ability to retain information and really feel like they're being engaged instead of just being distracted by everything that's going on? How could this be used as an opportunity? Like, what sort of skills do you think might need to be implemented to overlap that gap of environmental distraction and stuff?
You know, in a joking slash serious way, the funny videos you've seen that I've posted are really ways that I try to breach the gap that is now physically there. I feel like as a teacher, one of the biggest challenges is making sure that you are always maintaining everyone engaged in the classroom. And that's done in many different ways. But when you have to socially distance and when you have to, if I have to stand at the front of the room the entire time and I cannot come near the students, then I'm limited as to what I can do. I feel like making up for that, part of what we're doing is, like I mentioned before, is the groups and the pair work through Zoom, so that there's a little bit of more, I don't know, closeness, for lack of a better word. So, we're in breakout rooms, we're together, we're discussing, because we can't sit next to each other in a group physically. So that's definitely one thing that I strongly recommend, is incorporating Zoom for breakout rooms in group and pair work. I recommend anything that the teacher can use to be engaging when you cannot be physically close. Attention grabbers, call outs, any of those things that will help get the students' attention. I think it's a new normal that it'll take getting used to, but I don't necessarily think that it means that it will automatically affect learning. I think that it's a challenge that teachers will have to overcome more so than students, because it is up to them how they will deliver the instruction. But once they do that and it starts to become second nature, I'm sure that they will find ways to incorporate and engage the students. Technology has always been huge in the classroom, but we haven't really depended on it the way that we do now. And so I feel like it's also good to kind of fall back on what we used to do before and still use technology for those things. I don't know, have you ever heard of a website called Kahoot?
Yes.
Okay, so as an easy example, that is a simple way that I can engage my students when I'm in the classroom doing the hybrid model, because they can play from home in the on Zoom via the internet, and then the ones who are there can also, and it can be fun and engaging since we cannot be closer physically. So I feel like we have to continue to use technology in a way that it is still helpful. Now, it's a very general question, right? Because I don't know what that would look like for subject areas where you have more physical classes. Even our school is still trying to work that out when it comes to sports, dance, and all these other areas. It's going to look very, very different. But I think for the majority of the core courses, it will be doable once we get used to it a little bit.
And for students who may have the mentality of, I wish this was just all online, why didn't they just make it all online? What do you think are some benefits of doing hybrid as opposed to if they had just told you, no, you're going to be strictly remote?
I'll speak on behalf of our students. The feedback that we got from our students when we were thinking about how to go about doing this hybrid model, when, how, all those questions, was the need to kind of have a little bit more normalcy in their lives. And actually, I want to clarify something. For our student body, K through 12 universities in where I am in Florida, we are allowing all students and all parents to decide if they want to come back face-to-face or if they want to remain online, which is why we're implementing the hybrid model. That way, if you feel more comfortable online, you stay online. If you feel comfortable coming face-to-face, then you come face-to-face. But I do believe that the main reason for those who chose to come face-to-face is the need for normalcy, for interaction, maybe just getting out of the house. We've had a 70-30, like 70% in the K through 12 that chose to come back face-to-face, 30% to remain online. in the university level, we had 80% that are coming back face-to-face and 20% who are staying online. That 20% also includes students that are brand new, international students that are coming in and cannot attend face-to-face, even if they wanted to, because of the rules by ICE and the administration. So by default, they also have to be online. However, I think, if possible, I would encourage districts, universities to allow the students to have that choice. I mean, the whole idea behind the hybrid model is giving the choice to the students and the teachers. So I feel like I wouldn't want to be forced to go back face to face if I didn't feel safe. And I wouldn't want to be forced to stay online if I felt like I needed to be there and have that interaction. So I feel like, if we are telling students or teachers what to do, we're defeating the purpose of the hybrid model. So it should be left up to them.
Yeah, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
my first impression of you was like the silly music and dancing stuff from TikTok that I saw you
Yeah.
post. Is any of that entertainment aspect brought into your classroom at all?
For me, all the time. I'm from Puerto Rico. The craziness, I think, is just natural. But I mean, I have taught, Alexandra, I started teaching adult ed. I taught elementary school. I taught middle school. I taught high school. I'm now teaching at Florida State University. And I feel like you have to be able to connect. Students and teachers, they have to be able to connect. If we are going to be seeing each other multiple times a week and we're going to be doing things that are not always considered fun, we need to have those little breaks. We need to have, we do it all, dance breaks, singing, sometimes just random games. But I think it's important. The energy that you bring into the class as a teacher will dictate the response that you get from the students. And if you are able to kind of break down that wall and you connect as teacher, as student, then, all the other things just come naturally. Respect comes naturally. Adherence to rules comes naturally. Willingness to work comes naturally because they're in a safe environment. They're in a fun environment. They look forward to coming to class. They look forward to just being there. I get eye rolls all day, every day. I do something and immediately it's like, oh my God, here he goes again. But I know they enjoy it. You know what I mean? To give you a quick example, there was one time where I was teaching kind of like with the alphabet song that I posted dancing. I was teaching a tune and I was saying to them, if you sing this, I think we were learning about verbs or conjugations. I can't remember, but it was something that just came to my mind suddenly. Make it into a song. Let's make it into a song together. And I'm singing for them and I'm making them sing with me. They're rolling their eyes. I remember very clearly a student say, why do you do this? We're not in kindergarten. We're not in elementary school. I said, okay, I'm not going to force you if you don't want to. You don't have to. I know the things that work and the things that don't work, whether you realize it or not. So they're like, no, I'm too cool for this. Okay, no problem. Fast forward 2 days to the quiz. I'm walking around quietly. And the ones who are complaining are the ones who are like, singing the tune that I had taught them a couple of days before, that they were too cool to sing because they were not in kindergarten. But these are things that I feel like teachers should be doing their research at all times. We should always be staying in tune with the times, yes, but also in tune with the research. I mean, I got my PhD in education because it's my passion. But if I finish my PhD and I stop researching, then I'm not going to continue to grow. And I know that there are things that you can do that will reach different levels of students, and music is a huge one for me, and it works really well. So I feel like knowing the population and connecting with them through those fun, silly things makes a big difference.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I think some students have had experience, unfortunately, with teachers who don't really have the investment necessarily, or who have the degree but don't have the aspect of like the teacher connection, the interest in the students' progress and really investment in the class. So I think it's really important for students, especially at a time like this, to hear from somebody like you who's saying the times are very unexpected and things are not normal, but I'm still here for you and I'm still going to make it enjoyable, and I'm not going to blow you off just because we're not having traditional class.
Absolutely.
So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that should be the message that every teacher sense. I mean, it's a time of uncertainty for everybody, and for many students, we become home away from home. So that has to be the message that is sent. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, and good luck with all of your classes. I'm sure everything will go great just based on your
I hope
positivity.
so.
So good luck with everything, and thank you so much for talking to
Thank you
me.
for the opportunity, Alexandra. It's good to meet you.
Absolutely. It was nice to meet you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care.